you lose some of that versatility in the absence of Zach Bohane.
Freshman, the freshman from Palo Alto, local kid, part of the San Jose Earthquakes Academy. J.C. Rivero is our center official. We are underway for the first time in a conference game. Stanford seeing SMU on this field. In terms of this series, Stanford leads it 6-3-1. They did play in Palo Alto 2 seasons ago, winning 3-1 in a game in August of 22. Number of players on this field were there. Liam Doyle on the bench scored his first career goal for Stanford in that game. Early on a foul, a chance for Bailey Sparks or Kyron Shamron Pino to play it in the box. Kieran, excuse me. It'll be the left-footed Pino, curling toward the spot. Ooh. Wow, Rowan Schnebley lets it bounce and scoops it up. Schnebley, the redshirt sophomore. Second best 11 per Top Drawer Soccer last year, freshman 11. Wide to Will Cleary, he's looking long. Brock Pope controls. Sparks can't handle it, came out hot. There's Bailey Sparks in the midfield, the key cog. Midfield of the year last year in the American Athletic Conference, second team All-American. What makes Sparks such an important player for this SMU team? As they play it back, and now Martin Dominguez just gets it out of trouble. Chested down, trying to turn on his Jackson Keel. There's Chow, battling Pino. Rolls out. Back to my question, Sparks. Thoughts?
The great thing about Bailey Sparks is he's a risk taker, but he does it in moments that are usually high in efficiency. So having the experience under his belts, Bailey Sparks is a senior. He wants to play the game high. He wants to find distribution up top. With those risky passes through the midfield, he's not going to chance it 10 yards from his own net. He's smart enough to take the easy ball to help work the team out and then explode going the other direction.
Nikola Djordjevic can't control it. Tackle followed through. He got a piece of a Stanford player. Can't quite see who that is yet. That's Will Cleary.
And I would actually say that
O'Reilly.
What Kevin Hudson entrusts with Bailey Sparks, certainly the rotation underneath to number 6, Alex Salvo. They show you a lot of different shapes within the midfield. From a tactical standpoint, this is the biggest challenge that Stanford has faced because of the opponent and how much they have to chase given the system that Jeremy Gunn puts in front of these guys.
Jackson Keel with the quick turn. Crowded out there by Cesar Rubalcaba, getting his first action. Now we got another SMU player down on the pitch, and I believe it's Neve Berkovitz. And he's in a lot of pain. He was dealing with injury issues earlier, the AAC Rookie of the Year last year.
Well, that's on me.
That's not Lopez. Milton Lopez, actually, yes, went down there. Lopez, the goal scorer that got them kind of things turned around last week against Duke, down 2-0. Sophomore from Irving, Texas. And you mentioned a little bit at the start of the show with Kevin Hudson's crew. They've struggled to find a 9 to score some goals. Yeah. He obviously scored his last game, played well at different moments. Him being injured here will be pretty huge for the Mustangs.
Well, especially because not only have they not established a dominant leader, but anyone that's really got any sort of confidence, unfortunately for them, he's laying on the ground right now, right? And so you feel like maybe you've turned a corner against the Duke team with the goal that he was able to produce, and you know the frustration of what may be. There's not a ton in it, but certainly enough that he felt a little bit on that lower area. They've got options on the front line, which is good news for Kevin Hudson, though certainly he's not interested in chasing that narrative 3.5 minutes into this match.
And anytime the coach and this Kevin Hudson's walking out there, that's not a good sign. We're not speculating. Enzo Pinozzo, as you guys just saw, was warming up, the junior, on the sidelines. He now played it. He played it at center back position in a 3-back system for them last week. So this may be leading to some sort of tactical shift early on. As we wait to see how Lopez is doing. To his feet. He's taking a look.
Ooh, with a knee. That's what it is, a little stinger. As a defender, you're taught to arrive, if you can, right at the moment of contact with a forward to force some of that physical side, make his body adjust as the ball coming in. Knee just comes a bit high there from Dylan Hooper on Milton Lopez.
Hooper, the redshirt sophomore from Kansas City. And now Lopez up to his feet, working. And he is going to have to exit the field. It was not a foul on the play. Kevin Hudson returns to the bench. It seems like Lopez will return to action. And start again. Dylan Groneveld plays it back to the aforementioned Hooper, and they look long. Lopez is back on the pitch, so we are at even strength. And for cutting it back in. Brought down by Cleary. Pino DeSalvo. Rubalcaba to Pope. Scorsia. And to stay with SMU, despite Stanford's appeals for the ball. And JC Rivero is going to stop the clock here.
Next one, get up and make gestures with your hands. You can say you look. Can't call for the ball. Not allowed to call for the ball that goes out.
Jeremy Gunn, the head coach for Stanford in his 12th year. Just his bench just reprimanded by JC Rivero. Fletcher Bank coming forward, the junior. Connecting with his brother, twin brother, Palmer. They patrol that left flank. Palmer in the back line. Fletcher in the midfield. Deflects to Scorsia, and he's able to poke it out to Pino in space. He's dangerous on that left foot. Lays it back to Scorsia.
It is incredible how quickly Stanford worked back behind the ball, because just as quickly as SMU breaks through the lines. Really well done by the Cardinal to drop back and reestablish their shape.
Djordjevic and Palmer Bank in a little bit of a foot race. Out comes Schnellby, and that stayed in play. Fletcher was able to corral it. Up to Shane DeFlores. Flores on it again. Bank still on it. Able to play it across. It could be dangerous. Oh, well done by Rubalcaba. Because Keel was waiting there. Well done by the Mustangs. Work out of some trouble. Back to Scorsia in the middle. Crowded out by Riley. Quick restart. You see Jeremy Gunn there, as mentioned, his 12th season. 3 NCAA championships, a three-peat in doing that from 15 to 17. And that ultimate championship, he was the National Coach of the Year in 2017. He also won a title at the Division II level, one of 4 coaches to win the national championship at those 2 levels in college soccer.
4 college cups in the last 12 years, certainly
pretty good.
Not lacking for success on the
runner-up in the tournament last year, and one of the top 25 at the time. Those are 3 really. The schedule makers did not do them any favors.
No.
With their trips back and forth early in the year.
Well, I would say that Jeremy Gunn very clear about that as well, right? It's not just that we've been on the road and who we've played, but it's the mileage traveled in order to do so. He feels like maybe the RPI starts to need to account for those type of things, and that the ranking wasn't high enough given what they've gone through. Hard to blame him for having that viewpoint.
Well, they're 3rd in the RPI. He thinks they should be 1st, and I have no complaint, although Pitt is there. Great run. Djordjevic now charging down the flank. He played it into Lopez. He keeps it in and deflected out by Hooper for a corner.
That's a beautiful run by Nikola Djordjevic on that right-hand side, recognizing the space that was open. Watch how quickly this touch comes after that initial move right there, really well recognized that he's got the ability to get the ball away from his body to allow himself to hit top speed. These are some of the things Kevin Hudson is talking about that they're working on, though. Notice as they enter the top of the 6, 2 runs on that near post, no real representation on the backside, and even though it comes in flat, very difficult angle to attack from.
Sparks to take it, floats it, looking for Pino, headed out by Noah Adden. And Adden couldn't quite get it under control, so it turns over to the Mustangs. Mustangs haven't really reformed their shape after the corner kick. As Djordjevic was in the back line there, he's going to chart back out to the right flank. And Martin Dominguez will kind of set things up as the keeper. Ruvalcaba. No one home.
Well, that's one of the things you want to keep an eye on. 10, 15 minutes, maybe even the 20-minute mark for both of these teams. For SMU, how much they're really willing to chase the idea of this game, the aggression that Kevin Hudson has put in front of them. Their head coach entering his 10th season. He wants them to be expansive. He wants them to positionally get out of their comfort zone. But a lot of opponents that Stanford have come up against have actually backed off of that, and they found some success in it. Sat a little bit more defensively, but you don't want to sit back too much. That allows all that physical play and tempo to get right up in your face. Plays into the dominant hand of Stanford.
Flores was trying to get some dangerous area and ended up turning it over. Just to finish on Hudson, you mentioned his 10th year. He was an assistant here for 7 seasons prior to that. He played here. He is SMU through and through. He was on the staff with that. He was on the team, I should say, the 2000 College Cup team. He also won one. We went to the College Cup in 05. Turned over here. A chance now for Stanford. They got numbers up. The Flores, well done by Escorcia tracking back. Dominguez, heavy touch. Lopez, excuse me, heavy touch.
Push it wide. Push it middle. Push it wide. Stop. Push it wide. Two in the middle. Two in the middle. Watch. Look behind you. Behind you. Backside.
Chow on it.
Up. Squeeze.
Adden. Hooper.
On it.
Riley. Cleaned out, no call. And now a little delayed whistle by J.C. Rivero. And Stanford will have a chance now to. Riley's in pain right there.
Still can't do that. Billy Sparks just a little bit slow into the midfield for SMU. Again, he is certainly a disruptor, ground coverage. Most importantly, trying to find a way to get the ball into his feet.
And Riley's still down, a senior from Decatur, Georgia, product of Atlanta United Academy. Starting in his playing in his 64th game for the Cardinal, starting his 54th. It's up a little bit of a hitch in his get along.
It's difficult to pick out one player within this system because of how they play, and I've used that word a couple of times. Basically, it's the ground that you establish for your players to say, okay, this is the way that we're going to play. Now go replicate it. Some managers are going to go 10 deep within that conversation. Some are going to go 2 or 3. Usually you're on the shorter side for Stanford, but Will Riley controls all of that. That's the one when you look at and go, okay, if we're going to have success against this team today, we've got to nullify his actions.
So Chow and DeFlora stand over it. Flores to take it, to clip it in toward the back post. Rule flags up. Just on that then, because if you're just tuning in, Zach Bohannon is not playing. Zach Bohannon is not playing for Stanford as of now, out injured. Second team All-American, first team Pac-12 last year. Is this team better suited to play in his absence, given the system you continue to talk about? Better suited to deal with his absence, not without him.
Meaning defensively.
Anytime when you lose you lose your best player to other teams, that might be a massive blow. Can this team handle it better because of the system in which they play?
Yes. Okay. Now I'm with you on the question.
Poor question. I'm not. Hold on. Chow's now on the ball. Plays it in back post.
Middle, tight, no cross,
Fletcher Bank on it. Bank gets off the cross. Groneveld there, heads it down. Out by Rubalcaba. Dangerous.
It's certainly one of the best in the nation when you talk about that, right? Because it's so ingrained as to what your specific roles are. Actually reminds me of what you see a lot in the European systems. Not the strategy overall, but the idea of what your responsibilities are. So if you're out, next man up, so that it is seamless in nature in the transition. Now, personnel-wise, you're going to lose some of that identity. What you get with Alex Chow, he's probably going to play a little bit higher, push onto that front line. It's not to say that Bohane can't. We've seen him where he starts to pull himself inside, allow some of the overlapping runs from a guy like Will Cleary, as opposed to trying to find Alex Chow.
Opportunity, and well, that was hugely defended there by Owen Zarnik. They needed that deflection, and they got it. Because it looked like Fletcher Bank was making a beeline for the box.
And just to cap that, statistically, when you look at this roster right now in terms of career numbers, Zach Bohane, 13 goals, 16 assists, 42 points. That's second overall on the team. So you're obviously losing a large number of metrics.
Djordjevic on it.
Good game.
Got him. Still Djordjevic. Now he plays a Scorsia.
Big switches on.
Pino still standing on chalk on his boots. Nobody plays it to him. Now he gets it. Scorsia in a little pocket. Lopez crowded out. Sparks on it. Salvo. Pope striding forward. Big center back. And Wayward. Breaking the action, tell you about next Wednesday's featured volleyball match right here on ACC Network and the ESPN app. Number 15 SMU hosts number 5 Stanford, 7 Eastern. Now, bear in mind, SMU does play Pitt, the number 1 team in the nation, tomorrow. So I know you SMU fans are not going to look past that. You're excited for that opportunity. Your first ACC home match. Go to that game. Tune into this one Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern. Stanford, a team obviously very good, top 5, looking for their 5th ranked win of the campaign. And they're ranked the same.
I took the words out of my mouth. Didn't know the stars could align like that.
I had all these other notes. The most obvious one I just missed.
Good pressure.
Jackson Keel on it. Gets it off to the Flores. Well defended. A track back by Sparks. Groneveld in a little bit of space. Got his head up.
Nice. Can you see that?
Driven ball. Zarnik picks it off. Salvo gets up to Berkovitz. Laid off to Scorsia. Drives forward. His pass to Pino. Won't connect. See, Kieran Chambron Pino there. Talented young man. A senior from Frankfurt, Germany. Grew up in a number of different academies in Germany. Spent a lot of time, though, at Eintracht Frankfurt, which has been a Champions League team in the past. Perennially a Bundesliga team, the top division in Germany. Oh, club captain. Oh, that went. Chow went right through Sparks.
That's the physical side that we talk about that sort of disrupts the overall flow. SMU want to step on the ball and quickly. Alex Chow recognized that the 5'9", 6'1" battle probably wasn't in his favor. You go back to Pino, though, and they didn't have him at the beginning of the season, right? A ton of injuries, and that's something that has also caused a slower growth pattern for this team offensively. Haven't exactly had the success at the 9. Neve Berkovitz started the year injured, just coming back. Here in Pino, similar conversation. A type of guy, though, that his profile does certainly translate to a lot of scouts taking a look at him and what he could do at the professional ranks. Low center of gravity, good speed. He's got the ability to play down into the channel, but also I like him personally with the ball at his feet, head up, running at guys, because he'll cut inside, outside, and that makes it very difficult as a defender to recognize where that next threat is coming from because he's so unpredictable.
You mentioned the injuries from SMU. Obviously, Cesar Rubalcaba on the back line. He hasn't played since Pitt, which was September 7th, the game they lost here, their only loss this season. But Stanford's been pretty fortunate on the other side. They have not dealt with a lot of injuries relative to other teams, especially the ACC, the grind, the teams that go through. But they've got a tough one today as Zach Bohane, their second-team All-American, is on the bench still. We'll see if he does get up and factors in this game at all. Switch out to Cleary. He's able to keep it in play. Well done to Chow. They maintain possession. It is a warm day here in Dallas. 90 degrees at kickoff. It is still just south of 90 now. The sun beating down. There will be no hydration breaks in this game. How often is that factor, especially for a team? I mean, SMU's kind of used to this. Stanford, not as much.
I'm with you there in the sense that the California boys don't get this exact intensity of heat. It's not like they're training in the mountains, though.
Yeah.
The snow, right?
Yeah. You can always say I'm an idiot, too. That works, too. That's always acceptable.
Would never say that to your face.
Well done, sir. This is coming from a man, again, folks, that's wearing no shoes.
And a black shirt.
And a black shirt. Yeah, like I said, it's warm, though. I could go beach right now. Flip-flops and shirtless right now. Might how we end this game right now. Play it out, Stanford possession.
Yeah, the game itself, it actually reminds me the start to what we saw last week, SMU and Duke, and how they were able to eliminate those entry balls into the midfield for Duke Blue Devils, force everything to the outside. I would say the difference is Stanford have found a little bit more success in that. The most important thing for them is they've shrunk this field. So anytime that they have been able to move high, when it's turned over, SMU has to go a solid 80-plus yards to be able to get up any sort of attack, whereas Stanford is 40, 50 yards in nature. Makes it a little bit easier, especially in the heat that you just referenced.
Berkovitz. Some trouble, turns it over.
Again.
Chow does well there, and Jackson Keel looking for help, gets it from Cleary. Pino pressuring him. Does well to maintain possession, though.
Back shoulder, Owen! Up, squeeze, up! Left, Kiki. Behind you, Owen. Middle, stop the box, watch.
Cut inside by Fletcher Bank. Shane DeFlores lays it off. Struck, deflected by Salvo. Pino will win the race and lose it out for a quarter, though. First corner of the match for the Cardinal.
A much better rotation to the far side in the combination with the Bank brothers. Fletcher Bank cut back to the inside. He's got great vision. The evolution of his game on the left-hand flank and his ability to recognize the special moments of when he needs to get down to the byline as opposed to the cutbacks and find the trailing midfielders much better.
Chow to take the corner.
Away, boys. Away!
And swinging ball flicked on.
Again, Jack. Get it up.
Still around the 6. Gronebel gets a little piece of it down into the turf and then up into the hands of Dominguez. Hope, heavy touch, able to get rid of it. Uh-oh, Parks is in some trouble. Gets out of it. Nicely.
That is.
Escorcia. Good step by Hooper to pressure him out of a chance to maybe convert in transition, but he gets it out wide to Djordjevic in some space. Palmer Bank defending. Twin brother Fletcher steps up. Berkovitz now in some space. He looks for the cutback. Djordjevic still on it. And goal kick, says J.C. Rivera.
It's well worked out of the midfield by Haley Sparks. We talked about his vision, so he doesn't oft take uncalculated chances. That was one that could have easily gotten him into trouble, but well done working deep on that far sideline. You know, I love the different looks that Stanford throw at you. You know, they start the game and it's okay, let me see exactly how SMU are going to line up. Then they over-adjust, they put a little bit more on the right-hand flank, pivot almost into a 3, then they drop back, Now it's more of a 4. We're going to go with our outside backs, both of them, to create a balance and try and shift the shape of SMU. Now a little bit more on the left side. This is where I talk about the evolution of the Stanford Cardinal and giving them a bit more of an identity going forward. It's not as much as this flat 4-4-2 like we saw years ago. The change really started to take place in 2021, and just these gifted players that are continuously pumped through this system and their ability to retain them as well. You know, the change in college soccer that we've seen across the landscape, so many transfers, international players coming in, and yet this Stanford team every single year, 70+% in player retention. Jeremy Gunn very clear about the fact that we don't want guys that are going to be one and dones. We want guys that are committed to this program, that are going to find a way. If they have to sit for a year, that's fine, almost like an apprenticeship. But year 2, year 3, year 4, every single year getting better. And it never really culminates because they're always sitting right there on the edge of the mountaintop.
One of the few programs in all of sport that are not that affected by the transfer portal. Don't lose a lot of guys. They also can't and don't bring a lot of guys in as Fletcher Bank charges forward. A couple grad students, not many undergraduate transfers, if at all. Brother Palmer looking back post toward Alex Chow. Pino clears it off of Cleary out for deep throw.
Creates familiarity, experience, certainly within it. You know, I talk about Will Riley, Fletcher Bank on that left-hand side, Noah Adnan on the back line. 133 consecutive starts between those three. I mean, you talk about the ability to retain guys and impactful ones. There's the numbers for the roster overall coming into the season.
Confusion, but SMU gets the ball.
You know, 9 returners from last year's team that was pretty good in its own right. Stanford Cardinals. Seems like every single season, outside of the 2021 year that was a bit off, you're having the conversation about, okay, is this another title-winning team? Are they going to be able to get to the summit?
And last year they got to the quarterfinals of the NCAA tournament after finishing a surprising 3rd in the Pac-12. They've won 6 of 9 titles in the Pac-12, but they got to the quarterfinals, lost to Clemson 2-0 en route to the Tigers National Championship last year. Palmer Bank plays it long. Djordjevic is able to slot it out there to Pino. A little 1-2 with Escorcia. Overran it. Turned over by Adnan. Just over 20 minutes to go in the first half. What have you made of the first 25 minutes here? Not a lot of goal mouth action. Your thoughts?
I would say a little bit tentative from Stanford moving forward. Defensively, very well formed though, because when they have broken down, immediate recovery, and most of the time they're forward facing. But you know, tentative in decision making because the chances have been there. I would say for SMU, just got to execute.
Chow. JC Rivero did play on. They called a foul in the midfield. Let them keep going. She thought there was an advantage. Riley on it. Out to Fletcher. He goes down. No foul called, though.
And when you commit to a ton of rotation, which I'm all for, specifically this SMU team, it comes with responsibility and ground coverage, but that also means that if one's a tiny bit or even a large amount out of position, someone else has got to step in there. And feels like because they're so deep defensively, some of that rotation, when they're picking up passages of play, they don't have the ability to stretch up top, number 1 and 2. They don't have support in numbers to help each other out in transition.
JC Rivero stopped the game because we've got a injury. Remember, Milton Lopez, the sophomore for Irving, Texas, was down early in the game after taking a knee to his lower back area. He played on, but we were told there would no hydration breaks. There is now a hydration break. Sorry, he's not. Now JC Rivero is saying this is not a hydration break. There's an injury to Lopez. He's pointing to him, saying there's an injury situation here that has to be addressed. We'll try to get confirmation. He pointed to his head. I'm not sure if he's saying Lopez for a potential head injury has to be looked at, and Lopez is talking to the training staff for SMU right now. So Enzo Pinozo will check in. As you see Pinozo there. The walk-on got his first career start last week against Duke. This will be his 8th appearance of the season. Now he comes in for a striker, but he has played in the back line. He can play. Where do you see him being inputted here? We'll see it in a second, but what kind of impact can he have on this game?
I would say number one is that the idea behind Enzo Pinozo is his flexibility as a player. So he can drop onto the back line in a 3 for sure, move him into the wingback position. But Kevin Hudson very clear about the fact that he wants to get him higher because of his aggressiveness that he brings to the game. I would imagine this would be a shift that would see Escorcia drop into the 9. And when I mean drop, he's got to be that point man. Then you have to make the decision of if you want to keep Berkovitz over, although it looks like they have made a change to bring Jalen Mitchell on, which would put them as the 2 outside men on the front 3. You could also drop with 2 and then go 5 across the middle.
So Mitchell comes in as well, replacing Berkovitz. And he'll be out on that right flank. And Pinozo is playing in a more advanced position there. Djordjevic tracking back in the channel. Well done to get it to Pinozo's chest. Pinozo's a great story, 14 from the Mustangs. Wanted to come here, Kevin Hudson said, we really don't have a spot for you. He said, I don't care, I'm coming, I'm walking on anyway. Grinds himself into a walk-on spot and has continued to improve year over year. And now in his junior year, got his first start, as we said last week. He's played in now 8 of their 12 matches. Which is really a great story as far as how he's grinded his way into and one of the top programs in the country. Mitchell turns it over. Groeneveld tried to dink it forward or stay in and set up nicely for Fletcher Bank. He walks the line. Ruvalcaba, though, there to intercept. Flores. Keel's making that pullback run to the penalty spot. Cleary mishits it. Adnan. Hooper. Cleary again. For Chow.
And what they're doing right now is as they drop deeper with their wingbacks, sitting with that 5, they've gone 3 almost across the middle. You'll see a little bit more of a jump out of Bailey Sparks and Jalen Mitchell with Salvo to hold centrally, but they're trying to force the back line to beat them with distribution. Keeping the game in front of them, because anything they have given up, as they face their backs are to it trying to defend.
Flores looked like he wanted to give it a hit. Riley finds Keel. First shot on target of the match. Quick trigger. Saved, though, by Dominguez.
It's a very good idea. This is the one thing that you have to be careful, though, as you come a little bit deeper. Again, the whole idea is to keep the game in front of you, but much better in rotation by the Stanford Cardinal here. Again, A to B to C, one of the most efficient teams in the nation when you talk about that type of idea. Almost executed up top by Keel.
Dominguez started now 7 straight games. The transfer from Oregon State took the gloves, has not given up that spot. Now in his 7th straight start. Cleary on it. Skips past Pena, skips past Sparks. Scorsia twists out of some trouble. Well done by Scorsia. He's got Mitchell, the burner to his right, can't get it to him. Last touch was just too heavy. Now turned over to Flores on it. Second team All Pac-12 player last year. To the feet of Fletcher Bank. Turned over to SMU. Well, break. Let's talk about some American football coming your way in the ACC Network tomorrow. We'll have a Command Center presentation, number 10 Clemson, and and Wake Forest. At noon Eastern, you get 4 extra camera angles, real-time player and team stats. Then 4-1 Virginia hosts Louisville. Louisville took that loss last week to SMU. Big win for the Mustangs on the road. We'll cap the night with a 4-1 Syracuse and 3-3 NC State at 8. Each game is also available on the ESPN app anywhere.
Another big Clemson game tonight on the footballing side of things. Louisville, hello.
That's coming up right after us here on ACC Network. Talk about that a little more at halftime, as Louisville needs a win. In terms of their NCAA tournament resume, would be really, really big. Clemson going on the road to play in Louisville. Defending national champs who are capable, I believe you think, to get to a College Cup. They've had some different ups and downs, some tough losses. They lost to the Stanford team.
Changed some personnel, right? I think Mike Noonan, from what we've seen so far, he's trying to figure out all of the pieces. Still a very transitional team that is crafty, putting the ball on the deck. Saw a nice character showcase in the game against North Carolina. North Carolina was unbeaten at that point in time, and then handed them their first loss of the season.
Went down at home, ended up winning that game 3-2 last weekend. Big win for them. Played at Notre Dame a couple weeks ago through a red card. We're up 1-0 and lost. Here's Flores. You wanted him to play bank? What were you talking about there?
Well, that's one of those things that we've seen a lot in this first half, was really good understanding on the wings, and as they start to push, just a little bit slow to slipping in behind for Stanford. And one of the great things that you've gotten, if you're a Stanford player today, is any movement that you have gotten going forward. This back line has really been challenged positionally. You know, as a defender, and specifically the center backs, you want to be able to see the game. So as it shifts side to side, you want to be able to see everything, where all the rotation's coming from, so that you can communicate to your back line and the players in front of you. The second they get you running downhill, all of a sudden your back's turned to the game, and it makes it a lot more difficult for that to take place. Stanford's done a good job of doing so.
Jalen Mitchell able to corral it, played out to Brock Pope. Transferred from Bellarmine. He's the ASUN Player of the Year last year for the Knights. Mitchell. Turned over. Bonavelle to Flores. Plays Keel. Good turn. Well read by Pino to step in and help. Deflected pass comes to the feet of Pino. Now he rides a challenge. This could be an opportunity for the Mustangs. Looking for Enzo Pinozo. Not over yet. The Hooper wins the race back to Schnelby. Clears enough. J.C. Rivero throws it dead.
And once again, very smart play by Bailey Sparks to free. Run by Kirpino coming up through the midfield. You know, one of the things that you lose in the absence of a Milton Lopez, maybe a Chris Demon onto that front line. Baird's another one. Sagomonian is the understanding positionally of exactly what you need out of a striker in that situation, which is...
Ooh, twist opportunity right to the feet of Flores. Tried to settle it.
You wanted him moving towards the back line there, because there was so much more space on the backside of things. Again, you know, you asked me about 10 minutes ago, what have I seen from both teams? The chances are there, right? It's just about creating better communication because of the patterns that are opening up for both of these squads.
Georgievich just was dispossessed by Bank, but won it back. Now he switches it out to Pino. Scorsia. Pino. Oh, read by Adnan. Had it all the way. Bonavelle out to Cleary. Junior from Connecticut plays it to Chow.
Squeeze, up, squeeze, up. Right. Middle.
Picked off well by Salvo. Rubalcaba. His clearance deflected back to the arms of Dominguez. Both teams readying some substitutions now as we are under the 11-minute mark in the first half. Again, new sub rules in college soccer this year. You get 6 substitution instances throughout the course of the game, excluding halftime. If you exit in the second half, you can no longer return. Exit in the first, you can't return, but that was always part of the rules. Stepping forward, Pino out to Sparks. Sparks pass to Pinozo, a little hot, a little high. Scorsia asking Djordjevic to make the run, and he will get there. A lot of blue shirts in the box. Gets end line, drives it in, out for a corner. Second of the match for the Mustangs. So the subs will come in. JC Rivero is signaling them on, but nobody's taking the pitch. Signaling again. Fourth official Aaron Donahoe conversing with Jeremy Gunn.
It's just some miscommunication between the center referee and the forward. To be fair to Jeremy Gunn, he did say that he wanted to wave the subs off, and unfortunately that wasn't verbalized to our head official, and that's the argument right now, is he actually wants him to make the sub. Feels like there's some posturing on the sideline given the changes that SMU were going to throw at him.
So now both of them both teams. Hold them out. Hold them out. Yep. Hold them out. Yeah. Next them out.
JC Rivero's calling everybody out, so let's get you caught up on all the subs then. So we'll start with Stanford. You've got Liam Doyle, who I mentioned scored in this encounter back in 2022 when these two teams last played. 17, Duncan Jarvie comes in as well. And then for SMU, got a number of players coming on. Stefan Sogomonian, number 30, joins the game here. This is Lamar Bynum, 12, a center back, was red carded in the match against UTRGV midweek prior to Duke. Got suspended versus Duke, who did not play in that game. He comes in the game. And lastly is Noah Irvin, the sophomore, 36, who assisted on the second goal last game against Duke to equalize. He comes at the first goal, to Lopez. In a game they ended up drawing 2-2. So we got all the numbers, we got everything situated. Bailey Sparks to take. Driven in. Trying to be helped on there by Zarnik. And she cleared out. Here's header high. Knocked down by Bynum, turned over. And a foul in the midfield on Mitchell. Mitchell scored the first ACC goal for the Stangs against Pitt way back in September.
Right side. Squeeze up, up, up. More left, more left. Easier, watch the run.
Hope's header brought down though by Doyle. He was gonna give it a hit, just took one too many touches, continues across the back line, finds the feet of Mitchell.
Get him play away, boys. Up! Squeeze up!
Done well by Jarvie, getting it back to Doyle. Fletcher Bank gets off a deflected shot. Not a deflected shot, just a scuffed shot. Goes out for a goal kick.
Again, the energy for Stanford up-tempo a little bit more with the addition of Duncan Jarvie and Liam Doyle. With the changes that you'll see for most of the personnel for Stanford, you won't see a large drop-off in terms of the shape and how they're trying to chase the game. They've actually done a really good job over the last 2 or 3 minutes and allowing Will Cleary to come a little bit higher, releases Liam Doyle and adds another one onto that front line. You know, the idea here being that bring Bynum a little bit deeper. What I would like to see is a little bit more aggression out of this back line, specifically that young man right there, Noah Adnan. I think he's really good with the ball at his feet and being able to clear some of these long balls. You don't see a ton of link-up play with the midfield coming off the center backs, but their ability to find those balls up over the top, and if they can't win the first one, they reset themselves, they go the second, they go the third. Again, they just want to dominate every aspect of game on the physical side of things when they go the direct route.
There's Adnan, the senior, in his 74th game for the Cardinals. 69th start, second team all Pac-12 last year. Started every game last year, every game so far this year. All right, more subs for Stanford coming on now. You got another trio of substitutions. Corbana Kwakwa comes in, 23 in white. You see Alfonso Tenconi Gardias checks in, number 11. And last you're going to have Takashi Sasaki, sophomore from Washington, the Sounders Academy, comes in as well.
Right side, push them wide, push them wide. Middle, middle. Push it, Noah, push it! Push it! Up.
Sasaki was dispossessed there. Now Pinozo chests it down. Sakamonian. Good ball played. Back to Pinozo. They connect. He's trying to cut it back. Crowded out. Well done by Zarnik to win the header. Scooped up by Cleary. Mitchell just overran it. Sasaki couldn't control it either. Back to the Mustangs.
Good luck winning that battle. No chance. Physically, you're going to overtake Palmer Bank. That's just not going to happen.
No chance here. Charging forward. Kwakwa. Not to Gronebel.
Up, up, up! It's right! Tight in the middle, Caesar.
Picked off by Salvo. Couldn't connect with Sparks, though. Back to Cleary.
Up, please! Up!
Nice job to find the feet. Tenconi Gardias. Played in now, dangerous! Somehow skips past a gaping goal mouth. Now Bynum on it. Passes off though. Easily picked off by Hooper. Tenconi Gardias turns it over, and this finds the legs of Bynum again. He's got Pinozo with him. Bynum on the right foot, gives it a shot. Wide. Start the replay though at the back of the other end, which great cross by Stanford.
I think he just got clouded a little bit here. The back post run by Liam Doyle. Perfectly placed by Sasaki. Exactly where you wanted it. Even you wanted a little bit further towards the 6, but you do get the committal by Martin Dominguez. This is something we saw in the Duke game. Just keep an eye on Dominguez. Hesitant at the start of that game, coming off his line. Much better having that commanding presence toward the tail end of it, but that hesitation nearly cost him in the moment.
Does not, remains 0-0 as we get set for the goal kick here. I'll tell you about tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern. The ACC Huddle crew will get you ready for the day at Carter Finley Stadium in Raleigh. 60-minute pregame show. Also have halftime shows, pre- and post-game shows throughout the day. Then they're back at 6:30 to wrap up the afternoon with highlights and analysis to get you set for Syracuse, NC State at 8 after the game. Stay right here on ACC Network for a full post-game show and wrap-up. for a goal kick. Under 90 seconds to go in the half. Sagamonian digs it out. Up to Irvin. Big switch. Gets to Bynum. Well done by Zarnik. Good ball. Up to Sparks. Tried to cut it back. Couldn't. Doyle was there. Kwakwa. Quick feet. Tencroni Gradius. Still battling Salvo. Keeps it in. Good step by Irvin. Turned over here now. Chance. Laid off to Kwakwa. Over to Doyle.
Right side, away.
Good touch by Kwakwa. Cleared out, but back in. 15 seconds. Sparks, 10. Countdown begins. Still Sparks. Trying to play it, feather it through to Pinozzo, goes out. And that'll end the half. Here's thoughts, Devin. It's through the first 45, 0-0.
Well, it certainly started to open itself up towards the end of the first half as some theatrics take place between the two. Decisions to be made because the chances have been created by both squads, just not able to capitalize on them. That's got to be the conversation with both managers heading into the dressing room, taking advantage of all of the hard work that they're putting in.
Well, we find ourselves 0-0 at the break. SMU 3-0-2 went tied at the half this year. Let's go to Coach as we get underway here. The starters do return for Stanford, Shane DeFlores being one of them. Dylan Ronabel never came out in the first half on the ball there. There's DeFlores. First time shot by Liam Doyle, cleared out after. That will be a foul, and we still not a card in this match. And we still do not have a card in this match. Doyle's down to keep.
Now, this is very brave by Doyle because he knows if he tries to step through this thing, the contact's going to occur. Plenty of player. Would have tried to shield off the ball there. Feels like he's got that 50-50 chance where he's going to be able to get contact, step through it, and get something on frame. And if he doesn't, the foul is most certainly going to come. Good to see him back up.
JC for Rivero, the middle official, having some conversations with some of the players. Now walking off the 10 yards. Setting up the wall. Flores and Doyle over it. Doyle 17 did score when these two teams last met, a 3-1 win for Stanford on their home field against the Mustangs back in August of 2022. Shane DeFlores, second team, all Pac-12 on the ball as well. We'll see who takes it. Flores kips it in back post. They got room. Headed down and in! Oh, off the training ground, and what a beauty! Adden heads it back across, and it ends up in the back of the net.
This is very clever from Stanford. Everybody's in an offside position to start it. So as a defender, you're going, okay, where's the movement going to come from? And you forget about the sleeper on the backside. That is Noah Adden. Just a beautifully weighted ball to the back post. All you're asking for is the trailing runner on the spin. You got to get perfect timing here. And as he floats it through, he's just redirecting it onto frame. It drops right in front of the goalkeeper. He can't track it. 55 straight starts for Noah Adden. We asked him to be more aggressive coming off the back line. Take it any way you can get it. Cardinal out in front.
think that last touch went off of Brock Pope. The defender, 2-2. Number 2 defender, I should say. And the number 2 defender on the Mustangs may have put it in his own net, but they are crediting with Adnan at the current moment. And that set piece, I mean, when you draw it up and you execute like that, that's amazing.
There's just, it seems so simplistic in nature, but there are so many layers that go into it. Number one is the actual decision that you want to go execute it, because the first comment I made was all of these players in an offside position, so you couldn't play it short to Will Riley. So immediately you know that's going to be a shot on goal, or it's got to be the little touch. And the second that the touch comes, the ball to the back post has to be perfect. The timing on the cut back across has to be spot on. You get a bit fortunate for sure on the deflection, but no Adnan and Stanford Cardinal. That is very impressive on the set piece.
That gives them the 1-0 lead. They are 5-0-0 when scoring first. SMU did battle back the last game we saw them play. Their last game a week ago today against Duke, they were down 2-0 on the road and came back to get a point in that match. So they are more than capable of coming back in this game. Stanford team, though, is not easy to break down. .641 goals against average. That is 10th in the nation, 2nd in the conference behind Pitt, who's 1st in the nation and in the conference at .545. No discrepancy on who has the ball. It will be Mustangs' ball and throw. And long throw set up here by Cesar Ruvalcaba in his first action in almost 6 weeks due to injury. Gets it into the middle of the box, cleared out though. Scorsia back to Djordjevic. Touch foul there. You're over here grinning.
It's something. It's something.
Scorsia can't believe it either.
Pretty sure we're going to walk by the referee assigner on the way out. I don't want to get myself into trouble.
Why? Get yourself into trouble.
There's just, yeah.
Scorsia, the 5'6" junior from Bogota,
it's
Colombia.
light.
Yeah, it was light. Had their equalizer last week in that 2-2 draw against Duke. Also scored in this field when they beat Virginia Tech. Headed out, stays with the Cardinal. Twin to twin. Fletcher back to his brother Palmer. Palmer lining up for a long throw. You see Adnan to White, center back that is credited with the goal currently. He sets up now right in the middle of that 6-yard box. He likely is the target. They almost find him. Roneveld, nice touch. They leave it. Shot. Oh, Dominguez saved. Still loose. Driven back. Saved again. Still loose. 2 great chances for the Cardinal to double their advantage, but Dominguez equal to the task. And now can SMU break out? Said no foul there. J.C. Rivero said turned over.
Fletcher Ben can't believe himself. Wow. It was a close one. Very difficult, though, because it was on his left foot and positionally how he tried to turn his hips on it.
His touch brought down well by Anconi Gradius, and his cross those out. Let's take a look at that melee in front of that.
Again, this is your outside midfielder as the long throw comes in. Just watch the top of the 6-yard box as he slides in. Great job to keep it alive, number one. But the second ball that's cut back, notice he affirms his position, but he tries to go with his left foot. That's his dominant foot to come away from the goalkeeper. You wonder those decisions we talk about. If he could get it on the right, on the diagonal, and just cut it across his body, use the momentum, it's probably 2-0.
It is not. They managed to get out of that without giving up a goal, keeping it a 1-0 advantage. Nice dribbling by Djordjevic a minute ago. Fletcher Bank and then pushed it forward, but it didn't lead to anything.
Yeah, Fletcher Bank and Palmer Bank, two twins on the left-hand side. It's pretty nice that brothers get to go to the same university. Almost didn't happen, by the way. There's a great story about these two that right around the age of 12. So Palmer Bank, scratch golfer, he admits, by the way.
Wow.
Still got that in the bag.
Jealous,
unintended.
okay. Jealous for many reasons now.
So he was very young, and he ran into a situation where his commitment to soccer, it became a little bit questionable. Now his parents pushed him, his brother pushed him, and at one point in time, he woke up and he had a club championship for golf, state championship for soccer. Woke up and parents said, "You're going to the state championship." He did not like it. His brother talks about competition. Palmer is the one who is certainly of, I need to win everything, I need to win it now. Fletcher's more of the idea of, hey, we get to play together. This is great. But think about the fact that he's so tied to golf, he almost didn't end up here because of something that happened when he was 12.
Fletcher now plays that ball to the channel to Flores. He first time crossed it. Well done. And Taconi Gradius couldn't make much of it, but that was a heck of a cross to dig out there in the first time. I don't know if there's a bigger difference in sports in terms of the physical exhaustion of soccer
and the mental tenacity.
And the mental brutality that is golf.
Yeah, you want to feel really bad about yourself? Twins on the same team, Stanford, scratch golfer. One of those for a conversation with us, we'd be happy with.
Yeah, take any one of them for it. Instead of up here talking to you, bud, wouldn't have it any other way.
Appreciate you.
Flicked on by Liam Doyle.
We should lobby for a game at Stanford next year and let Palmer and Fletcher know maybe we could force them going, boys.
Please. Come on. And feel free to give me any lesson you like. All tips are welcome, and we'll pay for the round. Is that legal? I don't know.
No.
Actually, now I think it is. Who knows?
It's in someone's budget somewhere.
Yeah, and I help budget ours to them. Pino in some trouble, turns, no, he didn't turn it over. SMU went back to their starting lineup. Lopez in there at the striker position, despite leaving early because of an injury. Lopez couldn't come down with it there. Adnan throws forward. Taconi Gradius.
Under pressure.
Turned over.
It changes the shape again, more to what we saw in the first 30 minutes of the game for SMU. Again, the idea coming in for them is, hey, defensively they've been much better, more so than what we've seen historically out of the Mustangs, because this team is all about positionally being challenged. Kevin Hudson allowing his team to go and express themselves going forward. They've really struggled with that over the course of the year. More resolute on the back line, just not as expansive going forward. And again, as I watched them, I said it coming into the game, we talked about it in our hit prior, that I see so much talent within this team, and way more so, respectfully, than a 6-1-4 record, because they seem to get about 70% of the way there, and it's almost like the switch just goes, okay, we've done it. And unfortunately, they haven't been able to get themselves over the end line because they've stopped the thought processes 25 yards and in.
And despite that, now they have scored from the spot kicks a lot. Penalty, hold on, to Flores on it. Sparks themselves as 4 PKs. They have scored in 31 straight games. Nice feat by Flores. So we'll see if they can continue that. They need to continue it if they want to walk away with at least a point here in this game. Fletcher Bank in some trouble. Back to Palmer. Goes out.
And to your point, asked Kevin Hudson, the head coach, point blank, and said, listen, does it get to a point in time where, given the results and how good you guys have been on the back line, specifically that back three, that you start to lean into that a little bit more? And he said, you know what, Devin, if I look at these guys and say we're going to back off a little bit, we're going to drop into mid to low block, I don't want you to be as creative going forward, to be more worried about what's going on behind the ball. He goes, yeah, they turn off right away. And that's not of interest to them. I made a commitment to this university as a player, as an assistant coach, and now as a head coach in his 15th season, that we're going to be aggressive, we're going to be an attack-minded team, and I'm not going to stray away from the idea of what is SMU soccer.
They've got a brand, and they are playing to it as Sparks springs forward, finds Berkovitz, the reigning Rookie of the Year in the American Conference, and that pass can't come together. That's going to roll out. Let's tell you what's surprising right now in this league. Cal, on the road to #1 Pitt, who we hyped at halftime, and deservedly so, they're down 1-0 early at home to the Cal Golden Bears. A team that's battling Cal right now on the bottom, toward the bottom of the standings, has competed, has tried. That'd be an amazing result of that goal.
There's a long way to go in that. That's.
When do you start clock watching? If it's the 21st minute, do you start clock watching at 1 minute?
Oh, if you're on Cal, I'm knocking every single ball out of that stadium. I'm not sure you can reach Three Rivers from there.
You cannot unless you have a heck of a leg. Tanconi Gradius.
Good ball.
Oh, dummied by De Flores. Yeah, Oakland's about 5 miles from what was Three Rivers, now Acrisure Stadium.
Just beautiful vision here. Notice the trailing run by De Flores. You know, as much as he hasn't been able to be in link-up play and be on the ball, one of the more forward-facing, aggressive players for this Stanford team. Very clever and unselfish inside the box. You know, we talked about player retention for this Stanford team. That's not just year to year. That's also guys like a De Flores, right, who was drafted in the MLS Super Draft last season. Fletcher Bank, another one, 85th overall to Toronto FC. 3 separate players overall within this group that had the opportunity, if they wanted to take this step at the pro level. Well, the combination of the process, certainly the most important, the education, but also some unfinished business for some of these young players that have now moved into the senior level that they want to go and get a national title. Another one for this Stanford team.
Georgievich goes by Bank. Now Fletcher Bank just picked up a yellow, we're being told. He's on the ball now. Tanconi Gradius on it. Well done by Ruben Cava. But to your point, 9 of 11 of these Stanford guys coming back, and as Jeremy Gunn told us, you know, college did used to be, we're not going to get on a diatribe about the NIL and all these different things. It's a very different situation with NIL and transfer portal, and you do see way more transactional relationships at all different sports. But those guys that come here and commit and build not just friendships but brotherhood with their teammates, they have transformational relationships with their players and their coaches, and they still have that at Stanford within this program, which is pretty special because that's the way college sports used to be. It seems a bit of a bygone era.
There are pros and cons to all the changes,
of course,
right?
Yes.
But within the positives of what can be a 4-year journey for some of these young men, you know, we get an opportunity to talk to these coaches on a regular basis. I spent an hour and 15 minutes on the phone last year with Jeremy Gunn about this subject, and he was so committed to the idea of the development of people.
Yeah.
Because especially in the modern era that we live in with social media, we get lost in what's right in front of us the next 90 minutes, right? The white lines, no matter the sport. And he is built on taking young men, developing them from, I should say taking kids and developing them into young men, making sure that they're gaining proper education in the process, but throughout this journey, making sure that as people they're growing, because that does make your success better overall. It makes the results on the field better for all these guys, and it quickly goes from great recruits. Now the Twins have a different conversation, but it goes from great recruits to a brotherhood to a family in a 4-year journey that turns into lifelong friends, and he's at it best. A lot of these guys, they're going to end up in each other's weddings, right?
Yeah.
Did for me.
Did for me
exactly
too.
What happened. For the ones that were willing to show up anyway.
I had a lot of animals there. I've been the one in a couple. So if Fletcher Bank goes down, and now this is not a hydration break, but he took a minute. Now they've all come over. Basically every Cardinal's gotten some water. SMU's remained on the pitch. And the SMU players and fans are saying you can't stop the clock and allow them to have a break. We're not taking a break. The temperature has started to go down a little bit. The sun now has set enough that it's behind the building and we are all in the shade. But it's still 88 degrees here. It was 90 the entire first half. And it was in the sun. It is hot. So now, after about a 2-minute break, Will Riley will play it back in. And they're adjusting the clock as well. Moving up about 20 seconds. Riley curls it into the penalty spot. Headed down and now out by Berkovitz. Riley to Fletcher Bank. Berkovitz. Oh, big collision, and they're going to blow it dead as Bank took a shot. And they'll call the foul on Doyle.
This is an intangible, by the way, that when you talk about Bailey Sparks isn't going to show up on any statistician sheet, and it's the ball played through right there. Good job defensively on the recovery, but Bailey Sparks, the way that he just steps in front of that through ball from Stanford, you know, the idea that they want to be aggressive going forward. Unfortunately tonight, Bailey Sparks a little bit deeper than they would like, because you want him to be able to pop off that shoulder of Alex Salvo, but the way that he eliminates some of these threats essentially very impressive.
How do they get Sparks more on the ball in a more advanced area? Because they've struggled.
It's hard to do because of how aggressive you get from the wingers, and that man right there, Will Riley. Because those two up top basically stay high. Then Fletcher Bank comes, so it forces Bailey Sparks to drop in because of the cutbacks and the way the trailing runs like to come through for Stanford when they approach the top of the box.
And now J.C. Rivera is coming over to reprimand Jeremy Gunn because he wanted a card on Sparks. As we were talking about Sparks, there was a bit of a fistful of jersey on the pool back. There was no call. And now we get set to go back into play, but Alex Chow will be allowed to enter the match. The freshman who got the start in Zach Bohane's stead, the second-team All-American, is out injured right now for the Cardinal. He made the trip, but he is not playing. Local kid Chow is from Palo Alto, part of the San Jose Earthquakes Academy. Now J.C. Rivera stopping the clock again. And Tanconi Diaz is like, what's going on now? Now he's going to get yellowed for taking so long to come out. And now you look at Rivera. He knew right away when to come say something to Jeremy Gunn. Pardon your French. Now Gardias did get a yellow for his slow exit. Back to the action. Riley to take. In-swinging ball to the back post. Eventually cleared out by Berkovitz. Crowd's starting to come to life here. There are some Stanford fans here. There are obviously a good crowd of SMU. Holds about 4,000. We're close to capacity.
Stanford's traveled well. I'm a little bit nervous. We're wedged in between the two of them.
Well, I will say
no
this.
Escape route.
You also can imbibe at this at the Washburn Soccer and Track Stadium, which has maybe livened the atmosphere a little bit here as we go into the second half. We basically have guys doing it right next to our booth here, just having a couple cold ones.
Good for them.
We're out amongst the people. Hooper. Pass to Fletcher to Scorsese on it. Kind of pops it up to Berkovitz. Good track back by Bank. And Berkovitz goes down saying he was fouled as he wanted to make a hit on the ball. He stays down, Berkovitz does, and back come the Cardinal. Doyle on it. And it goes out.
Berkovitz wanted to try and hit this. Very difficult, though, for him to even bring it out of the air on the first touch, because the second he came back across, three different Cardinals standing in front of him. No foul on the contact.
Dispossessed, Pino on it. There's always somebody covering for the Cardinal, but it does find the feet of Lopez now. And Chow comes away with
Hit it. That's it, boy. Up, let's go.
Next Wednesday, featured volleyball match here on ACC Network. It's a big one. Number 15 SMU against number 5 Stanford. Sound familiar? 7 o'clock Eastern on ACC Network. First, though, the Mustangs do have Pitt, the #1 team in the nation, tomorrow, so I'm sure SMU fans will be locked into that. But talk about those opponents. Pitt and Stanford in back-to-back games. And Stanford's looking for their 5th ranked win of the season. That should be a great one on Wednesday night. Djordjevic. Bank goes down. He's on a yellow. Couldn't do much. Djordjevic still now into the box. Drives it low. Off of Palmer Bank. A lot of appeals for a handball there. Now you can review it. Now J.C. Rivero is saying no. You can review potential penalties.
It's definitely contact up high, but our angle looked like the shoulder off of Palmer Bank. Maybe even a little bit lower, actually, now that you get a second look off the hip.
Maybe a better look here.
There's no contact. Ball across. It's behind the scenes. Can't tell from that vantage point.
He's saying it's his hip, and as he talks to Brock Pope about it. But
hips don't lie.
Let him know, Shakira. Ruble Kaba to take as they continue the conversation, but it will not be reviewed. It will not be a penalty. Long throw ready. Zarnik and Pope, 2 of the center backs, are up there. And out. Scorsia trying to turn on it. Hidden by the Flores. Back to Djordjevic. Zarnik has retreated from his advanced position. False Alex Salvo. And Pope ran into some trouble, the center back up top there.
Let's see if they'll give a little bit more freedom to Djordjevic on this right-hand flank. I like the idea of pushing him higher. The problem you run into is how high of a line Fletcher Bank plays on this left-hand side, and then the trailing run of his brother Palmer behind him. But you know, it's really only the second time within this game, first in the second half, that we've seen Djordjevic willing to attack in a one-on-one situation. But he got that good ball back across in doing so.
Sparks. Over to Zarnik. Scorsia could not keep it in, and it was turned over to Stanford. Now they are working on a sub here for Stanford. Jackson Keel's waiting to come back in the match. Starting striker, redshirt junior from San Diego. Spent 10 years abroad playing soccer at some big-time clubs. Chelsea, obviously the Premier League, Fulham as well. Lived in Switzerland, Japan, played in high-level clubs over there as well. Very interesting soccer journey defines him back here to Stanford. His dad, also accomplished athlete. Played baseball, Cal State Fullerton, won a College World Series, and played in the majors. Heck of a pedigree.
Phillies, Yankees, Reds.
There you go, my friend.
You would think the Stanford education would be enough in that family. Seems not.
Nope. Keep piling stuff on. Flipped in looking for Keel. Tell you about our Week 7, ACC Network football lineup from the Command Center presentation. Clemson and Wake Forest. That means you get that game at noon, but you get 4 extra camera angles, real-time player and team stats. Then the next game, 4-1 Virginia hosts Louisville. Great win for the Mustangs on the road of the Cards last week in a game that the Brett Lashley's team really controlled. And we cap off the night, 4-1 Syracuse, 3-3 NC State at 8. Each game is also available on the ESPN app, so you can watch anywhere. Chested down by Pino. Back to Pope. Scorsia. Over to Sparks. Back to Scorsia. Find Berkowitz. He was waiting for it, he got it. Chops it back. Rides a challenge. That's not what he wanted to have happen. Well, the Stanford player down, slow to get up. Berkowitz, the other one, was very talented players, reigning AAC Rookie of the Year for the American Conference last year. Battled injuries early in this game, missed the first 5 of the season. First game's the Israeli youth national team player. And one of those guys that they need him to start hitting on all cylinders to really hit their full potential.
Well, again, you can sit here and look at the 9 and say, oh, they need more production out of the 9. But if you don't have support from those 2 players around him, and specifically tonight, Berkowitz and Escorcia, that puts even more pressure, right? Because now he's got to drag more players. He's got to find the space on his own. And you know what we've seen play out tonight with Berkowitz on the right-hand side, because Djordjevic is staying a little bit lower. Well, now he's having to fight a 2 or 3v1, and he's just not going to win that battle, especially with as physical in nature as this Stanford back line is in. Drop him into the pocket, fine. Bring him outside, fine. But you got to find a way from a numbers perspective to give him some support, even if you beat one-on-ones and then add a second player into it.
Roosevelt just picks the pocket of Sparks. Back to Fletcher Bank now. Across under 20 minutes here from Washburn Soccer and Track Stadium at SMU alongside Devin Kerr. I'm Dallin Cuff. 1-0 is the difference. Noah Adnan, defender, the senior with the goal to give the Cardinal a 1-0 advantage on the road here at SMU. Mustangs trying to battle back like they did last week on the road at Duke, down 2-0. Got that back to even before the final whistle. We'll see if they can do that here today. Pino working, trying to get end line, and turns a corner. We'll see that SMU has scored each game this season. They've also scored in 31 consecutive games. No shots on goal tonight. Why is that? Is that about SMU or is that about Stanford?
It's a combination of both, for sure. You know, defensively just so stout. Stanford on when they break down, just getting numbers behind the ball to be able to go make a play. And tactically, they're not overly challenging. Certainly some wrinkles, but I would also say just decision-making.
Pino to take, out-swinging ball. Good punch by Schnelby. He has not been asked of much, as we just talked about. Schnelby. Djordjevic tries to play it in, but fell as he went up. Escorcia doesn't win the second ball, though. Well defended again. A good job by Fletcher Bank to get his body in front, but no call made. Alford in the corner. 4th of the match for the Mustangs. Starting to apply more pressure as we go under 18. Pino to take the corner. A lot of traffic around Schnelby, the keeper. Doesn't beat the first man. Ruvalcaba now setting up for a long throw. See Zarnik number 3, Pope number 2. 2 of the main targets, his other center back partners. Flicked up, still some space. Drop down. Ruvalcaba clips it back in, pop back up. Sparks dispossessed by Chow. Chow looking for DeFlores, and Djordjevic does a great job to stop the transition. Sparks able to skip past Palmer Bank. Drives in the cross. He goes down. They will pull it back and say there was a foul. JC Rivera will stop the clock as well.
And when he wants to be. Bailey Sparks, he's Should be involved in the conversation as one of the best midfielders in the ACC. Again, defensively, he's had to cover a lot more ground tonight, so not as high up on the pitch as Kevin Hudson would like, at least not regularly. I talk about, you know, margins and how tight it is, certainly within these teams and in the ACC. 10 games for Stanford decided by 1 goal or less. That means wins or draws. They're 7-1-2. We talked about this last week for SMU. 9 games for them, 4-1-4. That's the key impactful moments of what you can do when it matters most, which is why you've got a team sitting in the top 5 compared to a team that's right at 15 trying to drag themselves in.
Pino to take it in. Oh! Shelby let it go! And Pino equalized in shocking fashion. The keeper hangs his head. And the fans to their feet.
Sometimes you just want to throw it in a danger area and allow someone to run onto it, see what happens. Overhits it as a cross, underhits it as a strike, but you're still making the goalkeeper commit to one of those special moments we just talked about, and Schnellman just loses it. As it comes in, can't judge the depth of it. Top drawer freshman, best 11 in 2023. Under a goal against average per game. Similar conversation this year for Stanford. Massive mistake that allows the Mustangs back into it.
Pino's second goal of the campaign. His first was their win over Cal. And Rowan Schnebley just, he hung his head immediately. He had, I mean, almost all the Cardinal players have come over to console him and say, keep it up, keep your head up, let's go. But that was a little inexplicable that he didn't make a play on the ball in any fashion.
Well, the biggest thing for me is there's no one around him, right? And you hate to harp on a mistake, but for goalkeepers in that situation, you think, okay, the lights are involved, which from the angle is still possible, but it didn't really look like that. Sometimes it's pressure because players are in front of him and he's not sure, should I stay, should I go? It's just one that he would like back, certainly, because he is so consistent back there. And again, it almost looks like Dallin, he thinks it's going to go over.
Yeah, exactly.
And that his positionally, that he feels like, okay, I'm higher and it's going to come up over it. It's not going to drop it. Instead, just misjudged. Accidents do happen. And even for one of the brighter goalkeepers in the ACC.
And this is a young man, again, he's 10th in the U.S., first in the ACC in terms of goals against average for a keeper. He's second in the U.S. in shutouts, so he's been really solid in the back. And that's what makes that position so hard. You can have one moment where you're the hero or it could be the GOAT. And here now he's going to come off his line and corral it. So we feel bad for him, but it is a 1-1 game here. All to play for.
After 45 minutes of play, you and I were looking at the stats, and you said, you know, what do you make of it?
Flores, good touch to bring it down. Battles with Zarnik. He made the contact, and he will get up.
It was 4 shots overall between the two teams, only 1 shot on target. And I said, you know, you have to be a little bit more aggressive. One of the things managers are also going to tell you is you at least got to challenge the goalkeeper. Yeah. And let's be very, very clear. He's not trying to shoot in that situation. It's a ball that you're just trying to whip in and allow someone to run underneath it. But the misfortune quickly goes to fame because all you were aggressive in the moment and forced a decision by the goalkeeper where he got himself into trouble, and now you're back to square one.
This SMU team has shown grit all year. They are 0-0-3. 3 draws when they surrendered the first goal. They found their way back into games and gotten points from all those games, so this could be another one of them. Could be a win, though. We'll find out. Right there, obviously. Kaba back to Pope. And as we go 1-1 here, Pitt is still down, the #1 team in the nation, down to Cal. I know the Stanford fans watching that are not appreciating that at all right now, but Golden Bears are up 1-0 to Pitt on the road. That would be a monumental win if they could pull that off. We'll keep you updated if the Panthers come back. You can obviously watch that game on ACC Network Extra if you stay with us here on the network. Next up, you got Clemson on the road at Louisville. Huge game for that Louisville team in their resume. They will keep you updated on that score as well. Georgievich trying to get end line, battling with Palmer Bank. Both the Bank brothers, the twins, have yellow cards right now. And this crowd, there's a lot more energy here as Djordjevic struggled a little bit in the end line.
Well, we asked for them to get him going. Certainly the high line that led to the contacts. Set piece, equalizer. Great chance just prior. Another one getting in behind. Certainly is making Palmerbake work a little bit deeper in the second half. Again, sometimes you just got to go the old school method and be direct, and I'm all for putting the ball on the deck. It's the way that I see the beautiful game. Very similar to Kevin Hudson, but sometimes the easiest method is the simplest, most direct. Allow your speedy guys who are willing to chase down in, knock balls into the box to get involved.
So J.C. Rivera did step the clock at 13:09. Bailey Sparks actually looked back and said, we got a real injury here. Can you stop it? So treatment needed for Djordjevic. He will have to exit the field as he's taking the fluids. You don't want to speculate, but it seems potentially could have a cramp. You take a look at Clemson. Coming up next, Joe Malfa, Mike LaHood on the call from Louisville. 8 p.m. Eastern here on ACC Network. As soon as we're done, we're going right there. Great doubleheader of ACC men's soccer action coming your way. The reigning national champs, the Tigers, on the road at Louisville. Last year, those two teams played twice. Clemson 9-1 total in terms of those games. So the Cards are hungry. A lot of players were in those games hungry to avenge those losses. Pino again on the set piece.
That's a ball.
Dangerous ball hit the bar! And Rivero says no goal! He can look at this as well. Did the ball cross the line? And he is pausing the game to do so.
That is,
I believe it was Zarnik with a great ball in.
It's an incredible ball.
Pino ball in, and then Zarnik head on it. We'll take a look.
A ton of pace behind it. Pino, what a ball back across right on the edge of the 6, and that actually comes off the back of the head of Palmerbake. I can't tell, though, as to whether or not that crosses the line from that angle. That one, ooh, that's a little bit closer. This should tell the full story. I tell you, interestingly enough, the second look that we got, and it's so difficult to speculate because of the depth perception on it, second look to me felt like it was over. Third one leaves a lot to be seen. Watch the way that it comes down. The tire gets in the way. If the tire's not there, you could tell. I can't tell.
That view is by far the best view, I think, although behind the goal. Now,
too many bodies. Just way too many bodies. Again, like if you pause it right when it comes down, you think it's over.
I think this may be the angle that gives you the best chance. Now it has to be.
But you still can't tell because of the wheel.
It's beautiful, but the wheel's pretty far back. And now, granted, so is the camera.
And
so
if
the angle's not there.
If you spin it, that ball could easily be leaning over the line, and you cannot tell. There's not enough in this situation definitively where you can say that's over the line.
Again, the entire ball has to cross the goal line. If there is even a pinch of the ball over that chalk, it is not a goal. That's what makes this so difficult. That's why around the world you have goal line technology. That's not what we have in college soccer. We do have review, and it gives the referee a chance to take a second look. And that was Poe battling with Bank, and off the back of Palmerbank's head. Again, you're right. I can't tell. I am guessing, but
at best,
if I'm guessing that's a goal. But you're not supposed to be able to do that.
I mean, look at the faces of all the Stanford players trying to track it.
Well, J.C. Rivero is done with his review. We'll see the call. He's going to bring over Kevin Hudson and Jeremy Gunn, both of coaches.
After final review, the ball it crossed the whole line and it touched with the black wheel of the dog. So I'm gonna go goal.
He's saying it did cross the line. He referenced the wheel that you could see in the goal and said because of where the wheel is, he's going to go goal. What a turn of events again for this Mustangs team.
I just, listen, while guessing you feel like it does, definitively that is a very difficult call given the angle that we're presented right there. Sure, it looks like it's behind the wheel. But you can't 100% with all certainty tell me that's crossed the line. However, it's the hand that's been dealt. What's the response now from the Cardinals on the road?
Man, this game has turned on its head. As Pino got the first goal in the 74th minute, he now assists on this goal in the 77th minute. And the number 15 team, the Mustangs, are up on Stanford right now. In a game that Stanford was in control of for the majority.
Some of the better chance creations we've seen on the evening have been from set-piece opportunities for Stanford. First one, the opening goal, right on the back post run. Second one, they had some trickery as well. Always good service by Will Riley. Here's another one.
All 3 goals in the game are from set pieces, floated in back post, headed out by Zarnik. Riley trying to charge forward. Now again, the Stanford team is playing without its second-team All-American Zach Bohane. Has been on the bench the entire game with an injury. Jackson Keel trying to turn, goes down. The Stanford faithful here, excuse me, that's Adnan, played back to the center back. Appeals for a penalty, none given. There is a decent Cardinal contingent in the crowd here tonight. As Lopez battles with Cleary. Popped out to Berkovitz. Georgievich trying to make that run. He's battling with Palmer Bank.
It's great defending. Incredible defending by Palmer Bank. That moment could have easily collapsed on the overlapping run by Georgievich, and well done to keep his team in it. Again, the way that he plays this angle, he allows the presses to come. He can't overcommit early because Berkovitz can have him. Instead, keeps both runners in front of him. Textbook from the outside back from Stanford.
Georgievich. Now J.C. Rivero will stop the clock again for a couple subs for SMU now. Got Noah Irvin set to check back in the game for Georgievich. Sophomore from Phoenix, Arizona. 10th appearance on the season. Had an assist in that game last week, the comeback against Duke, their first goal. Also, Enzo Pinozo checks in. He replaces Berkovitz. Pinozo on the ball and wins them a deep throw right away. How should both teams play this down the stretch here with 11 minutes to go?
Well, number one, I would say that every second counts for both. Obviously, elephant in the room. Game management for this SMU team that Kevin Hudson was very clear about coming into the Duke game feels like they've struggled with a little bit, where they've had leads and haven't been able to close games out. Clean up your decision making. Only be adventurous when it's absolutely necessary, because you have the ball, you've got the game, you've got the lead. Make the other team chase right now. So I'm not trying to overly indulge on the offensive side of things. I'm making Stanford chase as much as humanly possible, but when you pick up the ball, if you're Stanford, don't feel like you just got to knock it and go. You've still got plenty of time to put the ball on the deck and move them.
As they're doing right now. And that game before Duke, the Mustangs were up 3-0 against Rio Grande Valley, and ended up being a 3-2 game that had some fireworks after the final whistle. So Lamar Bynum got a red card, and the goalie for RGV got a red card as well. As that became real tight down the stretch. We'll see if they can close this one out. Now setting up for another long throw. We'll see Adnan, big center back, into the box. He is their main target. Flicked on, back post, Flores is there, off the post, back in! Jackson Keel, the Flores strike partner, Johnny on the spot, and we are locked up at deuces.
And this team has seen it They've gone down before, and they found a way to come back. The Clemson game for sure. Long throw. Another makeshift set piece. I mean, every single opportunity tonight for these teams from dead ball situations, they've made the most of. Great job on the redirection to the backside. The perseverance by Shane DeFlores, who catches it really clean, and then the follow-up. That is the smarts by a 9 right there, recognizing that the second the ball comes off the foot of Shane DeFlores, he's got to drop back off on the deflection. Gets him back to even. Well done by Stanford and Jackson Keel.
Keel, third goal of the campaign, scored against St. Mary's, scored in that Notre Dame win on the road, also got his second yellow and was sent off in that match. But here he's playing the hero again as he locks up the score. J.C. Rivero had a word and a bone to pick with Stanford again. After the celebration, every player got water again, which was kind of de facto water break, as SMU was waiting to play the game. Turned over, Fletcher Bank now. Here come the white shirts again. DeFlores. Good step by Sarnik. Had to be right, so he's in the box. Good turn by Fletcher Bank. Shoot out by Berkovitz. Here comes your long throw again. Count these as essentially set pieces, so all 4 goals now have come from set pieces. Palmer Bank to put it in. Chow trying to hold it in. Comes off of Pino. And Chow's going to take himself a yellow there. Cardinal have 4 yellows on the match. They lead the league in yellows per game.
Coming into this match, they'd only conceded 5 times on the year. Stanford, only twice had they previously given up multiple goals in a game. The 2-2 draw most recently, and then the 3-2 comeback against Clemson earlier this year. And statistically, they are a second half team. They score 14 goals of their 22 coming in the second half compared to 8 in the first. And whether it's shots, corners, everything seems to favor this team overall when they enter the second 45 minutes.
Out Chow. Flores tried to clip it over to Cleary, making the overlapping run. Now, fistful of jersey there for Discorsia. And here comes another dangerous set piece, potentially, as I think Pino is down for the Mustangs. Pino tries to stretch himself out. We'll tell you about tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern. ACC Huddle Crew will get you ready for the day at Carter Finley Stadium. Raleigh with a 60-minute pregame show. They'll also have halftime shows, pre- and post-game shows throughout the day. Back at 6:30 to wrap up the afternoon with highlights and analysis to get you set for Syracuse, NC State at 8. After the game, stay right here on ACC Network for a full post-game show. And that game should be a good one. Syracuse lost their last 4 to NC State, trying to avenge that trend. First win at NC State would be since 2013. They could get it done in Raleigh.
And this is just about the war of attrition right now for Kieran Pino, who, as we spoke about earlier, coming back from injury, trying to get him up to 90 minutes game fit. He's done an incredible job just to stay relevant this long, given the pace, especially in the second half here. His counterpart, Nikola Djordjevic, could easily make the case as player of the second half, given his presence on the right-hand side, though currently on the bench, given how much chasing he had to do on both sides of the ball.
So they make a couple subs. Lamar Bynum comes in for Pino. Pino, obviously, great game. He had a goal. He had the assist to get them up 2-1, but now it is 2-2. If you're looking for Clemson-Louisville right now, you can watch that game on ACC Network Extra and the ESPN app. We'll go there right away to Louisville as soon as this one concludes, but it's been a great one, 2-2. Stanford was up 1-0. Back came the Mustangs, 2 goals through Pino, who just saw walking off there. Brock Pope in the 77th minute, but then Jackson Keel equalized just minutes ago in the 81st minute, and that's where we stand. All 4 goals off of set pieces. Stanford now over the ball for a set piece.
Away, boys, away!
Slipped in left foot by Chow. And it did go out, though. As we tick under 7.5 here. Stanford trying to remain unbeaten in league play overall, but also on the road. They're 3-0-0. 3 wins, 9 points from available 9 on the road. This would break that run. SMU currently 6th in the standings in the ACC, but they do have a game in hand. Chance to catch some of the teams like Stanford ahead of them. The number 1 seed in the conference is critical with 15 teams. The first team gets a bye in the ACC tournament. Everybody now qualifies for the tournament in this league. Noah Irvin with the throw as we go under 7 minutes. Cesar Rubalcaba comes forward for another long throw. Let's keep testing this and see if it can work the other way now for SMU. See Owen Zarnick, 3. Brock Pope, the other 2 center backs up there. His main targets for the throw. Enzo Pinoza as well getting in the mix. Headed out. Headed down, but not out, I should say. Chow gets it out. Irvin trying to hook it back to the feet of Pope. He does. Mitchell on it. He just throws it into the mixer. Flores uses his body well, but then turns it over. Mitchell tries to drive it in, ricochets back to him. Still Mitchell, 1v2. Eventually dispossessed and played to Keel in the channel. Well done there, defensive by Salvo. Bynum. Nice ball back. Nozo was there, then Schnebly able to pull it down this time. Fletcher Bank looking long. Keel can't bring it down. A lot of contact with Rubalcaba, no call. And Rubalcaba's down. He's dealt with injuries all year. It's his first game back since they lost to Pitt back on September 7th. I mean, we've got 4 goals all in the second half. What have you made of second 45?
Well, I've decided that, you know, outside of the fact that we certainly want to be able to play 18 holes next year at Stanford, I want to go and watch their set piece practices.
Yeah.
Incredible. But both on both sides of the ball, to be fair, right?
Yeah.
What they've been able to produce on both of their goals. Also, some of the slip-ups. I would argue the second one is more than a bit questionable. Again, with 100% certainty as to whether or not the ball was over the line. But character for both teams being tested. Love the competitive nature.
Bank with a long throw. That's how they scored their last goal, Stanford. Scorsese able to flick it over the head of Chow. Sparks will just ping it out. Now, Devin was alluding to, if you're just tuning in, the second goal for the Mustangs by Brock Pope to put them up 2-1 was reviewed and granted a goal after not being called on the field in terms of crossing the line. Zarnick, chases it down, clears it out. We are under 4:45 to play. Bank with another long throw. This is how they answered and equalized. Through Jackson Keel in the 81st minute. Can they do it again off a long throw?
And Will Cleary's done a really good job the last 2 sequences of freeing himself up. He's right at the penalty mark.
And Dominguez pulls it in. Look to quickly distribute. Looking for Sparks or Mitchell. It might fall to the speedster Mitchell, but they're going to call the foul on Sparks first. As he kind of... J.C. Rivero, quick talking to for Bailey Sparks as he ran through Chow.
He's asking him to be smarter here, and it's certainly a foul. I don't think there's anything wrong with the pressure Bailey Sparks tries to provide on the player. That's just more of a come over, a nudge. Hope you can get away with it. He didn't.
Flores presents himself. between the lines, out to Fletcher Bank. Working on Irvin. And off Irvin for a corner.
Real quickly, they've shrunk this field again, by the way. Stanford have applied all the pressure and pinned SMU into this side of the field. There's no presence up top. It just feels like they're trying to get over the line again.
Riley to take the corner. A lot of traffic around Dominguez. Good ball played in. Dominguez comes off with a punch. First time shot in, just wide. From Bank, Fletcher.
Certainly not on his favorite foot. Wanted it on the left, just comes across a touch. You got to give him credit. You know, I joked about sitting in on some of their set piece sessions. It's not just the first player, it's the second and the third, right? It's getting bodies on people so that even when they can't get the first look and the ball bounces back out, they do such a good job of having the right people in the right places.
Flores is down holding his head. They do not stop play. He's back to his feet now. Mitchell lets it roll out of bounds. As we cross under 2.5 minutes. No Irvin to take the throw. Both these teams could be looking potentially back-to-back draws. SMU drew at Duke. Stanford drew at home against NC State 0-0. Enzo Pinozo trying to get them a corner. Scorsia still pressing. Oh, but it came off of Scorsia's foot. Trying to earn that corner. Kaba into the Dallas Knight. Riley able to settle it. 90 seconds left. Will we split the spoils or a late winner? 4 goals all in the second half. Chow. Charging at the back line. It goes down, no call. Dominguez trying to distribute quickly. Nobody running for him. Finds the feet of Bynum. We are under 60 seconds. Inside, looking for a Scorsia. Finds a Scorsia. Dancing with it to Mitchell. Over to Irvin. Low ball pinged in. Clear. 35. Risky ball by Zarnik. It gets through. 25. Will we have a buzzer beater? Bynum out of bounds, and it will the Stanford throw, and that may just end it as they're in no rush to put that ball back in play. And we are under 10. The countdown begins. 2-2 is going to be the final. Your thoughts as they split the spoils?
6 games in the ACC tonight, 5 goals, 4 of which came in this game. So we were all spoiled a little bit with the theatrics. But to me, this just comes down to competition. And one of the most common things that I hear about some of these young players today is they're technical, they're tactical, but some of them lack the ability to compete. That was not the case tonight. And these two prove this isn't about being relevant in the ACC.